Good. All right, here we go. Hi, loves. Welcome back to the Purpose Show podcast. This is episode 1 of our 13th season. 13 seasons of the Purpose Show. And I was podcasting even before this. So, a lot of years, a lot of seasons of podcasting for me. Also, 13 is my number, not my lucky number per se, but like my number when I played sports. And it's just, I don't know, it's always been my number. So, this is perfect. I'm so excited to be here with you. Welcome to 2024 and season 13. We're going to be diving into the power of your voice, the power of your words. Your word is literally law, and how you can change your life, improve your health, do all kinds of cool shit just by changing and working with your inner and outer voice. Your inner voice, of course, being your thoughts, and your outer voice being your words. So before we get into it, I want to let you guys know there are a couple of new free pieces of added support that I have put together for you all. And it's really cool the way that you do it. All you need to do is go on Instagram and send me a specific DM. I'm going to tell you what to send me in just a second. If you're not already following me on Instagram, get your butt over there. This is where I show up every day in my story. I'm sharing behind the scenes. I'm sharing extra like life coaching tips. I do a lot of like Q&A type of things. I'm very interactive and present on Instagram. So definitely go head over there. We have at least one post going up pretty much every single day. It's where I am most active on social media. So go follow me there. It's at Ali underscore that's me, or you can just search Ali Casaza and I'll come up. I'm the verified one with the orange photo. So, here are the two things that I have for you that you can get by DMing me on Instagram. If you DM me the phrase life audit number 1, no spaces, all caps, life audit, AUDIT, and the number 1. I'll put this under the video on YouTube here and in show notes so you can see it properly. But if you send me a DM that says life audit 1, you're going to get my free guide to giving yourself an overhaul and giving yourself a life audit. This is a private practice of mine that I have done for years. It's just really like evolved and kind of become more elevated recently. And so I created a free guide for you to walk yourself through this process, really just getting an aerial view over your life, your habits, how you're being, how you're showing up, making sure that you are living aligned with how you want to live and how you want to feel. And if you're not, getting really specific with where change needs to be made and just like getting intentional, right? Instead of just going through the motions. So DM me life audit 1 and you will get that free guide. The other thing that I have is a private podcast series, the Becoming Her private podcast series. The reason I created this is because I really wanted to have something that wasn't just here on the Purpose Show, like here on the regular podcast. We are making big moves. We are having deep conversations. Sometimes we get a little unhinged and we just are like very raw and having these good conversations. But I really wanted to have a space to separate those of you who are just very in your growth era. You're really in your becoming her era. You're a growth minded woman. You are taking your growth and your improvement very seriously. I created a short mini series of private podcast episodes. One of them is actually a guided meditation, like visualization thing that I made. It is so good. It is so good. If I could stand listening to my own voice, I would do it. But I'll let you guys do that. I don't think any of us like to listen to our own voice, but it is so good. And it is very intentionally curated to get you started or improve your becoming her journey. And of course, when I say becoming her, her is the next level version of yourself. We are not about to just live our lives going through the motions. We want to be intentional. We want to be purposeful. We want to think about the kind of woman we want to be and then begin to align our habits, our actions, our thoughts, everything about ourselves with her and really embody her and show up as her. That is what becoming her is all about. So, to get that private podcast series, go to Instagram and DM me the letters BHF. all caps, no spaces, B as in boy, H as in hotel, F as in Frank, and you will get the private podcast feed. It's really, really good. People are loving it already. Okay. Let's get into today's episode. Your word is law, how to change your life with your inner and outer voice. So, I have touched on this topic before. There's one of my most classic and downloaded episodes of The Purpose Show is from way back in the beginning when I was a totally different version of myself. Um, there's an episode on the power of positive words for children. We've talked about this with your relationships and romantic relationships and connections, the way you talk to yourself about yourself. But we're going to just get into it again and a little bit deeper and in this like new vibe that we've all had together, the new way that I look at things and that we are looking at things together. This is what I want you to understand about your words. And when I say words, I am talking about both your inner kind of monologue that's running all the time, like your thoughts, your words to yourself on the inside, and then the words that actually like audibly come out of your throat. Okay. Your words, like focusing on that and looking at like what you are creating for yourself internally and for yourself and others externally. This topic is about taking ownership. Okay. It's about taking ownership of what is ours, of taking ownership of our power instead of just thinking the way we've always thought, thinking the way everyone else thinks, talking the way we've always talked, talking the way everyone else talks. We don't want the same results that everyone is getting. We don't want the same relationships. We don't want the same connection to ourselves or lack of. We don't want the same relationship with our children. We desire exceptional. So to do that, we have to stop giving away our power by thinking and talking the way we used to or the way that everyone else does and what is quote normal. And we have to get really intentional and own the power of our words. Okay? So basically let's shift and like I want to just talk about the importance of this, okay? I did a lot of digging because we actually did your voice was actually the first focus area, like the first theme that we ever did in the Becoming Her collective. We focus on different areas, like micro areas of ourselves, and we become her, the next level version of ourselves in each of those micro areas. And then we like just are stacking them as we go. And this was the first one we ever did was your voice. So since then, I have been very focused on this area of myself and doing a lot of research. And one thing that I've seen repeatedly in all the different studies, all the different research, which I am going to get into some of that in a minute here, is that people who have a critical inner voice are far more likely to struggle with depression and anxiety. So if you are someone who suffers from anxiety and or depression, the first thing I would have you do is look at the way you talk to yourself. Look at the way you're thinking. I think there's also like such an element of self-fulfilling prophecy. People who think things like, I can't do this, or, oh, I could never pull that off. I could never do what she's doing, or, oh my God, I'm going to fail. This is going to go so badly, or, similar thoughts, typically negative thoughts. They do. They do fail. They do struggle. They do mess up. It's self-fulfilling. Like it's almost like you're just getting what you expect. And people who think typically positively, like, oh, I've got this, I'll figure it out. I'm good at that. I can do that. I can handle this. I don't know how to do it, but I'll figure it out. I don't know how now, but I will. They do. They do figure things out. They have a growth mindset, so they are always growing. I am like this. I used to be the other way, the negative way, but I've trained myself to come out of that, and now I am very much like I can figure anything out. If I can't figure it out, I'll figure out how to figure it out, or ask for help, or I'll like I can excuse me. I am very much in a growth minded way of thinking. And so it's self fulfilling. So I do tend to win. I tend to be successful. When I try something, it tends to go really well. If I get myself into a pattern of where I'm not in a specific area, like maybe in business, maybe I got like my ego hit and I just feel like I've had a series of perceived failures, right? And I'm just like bummed out about it. And I'm leaning into that belief of like, God, I'm just in a rut. Things are just not going well for me right now. Then they don't. So it's like what you think happens. You're creating your reality. A lot of studies show that negative thinking is linked to a lot of health issues. One of the biggest ones that I found in my research was heart issues, which is kind of symbolic and sad. Like you're hurting yourself by thinking negatively, like you're hurting your heart, literally. Negative thinking also decreases your cognitive performance. It messes with you. It's fucking you up. Like, stop. Negative thinking is linked to the cause of chronic stress and a weak immune system, which over time was shown to even lead to deeper and really serious health issues, okay, like the heart issues. Negative thinking leads to feelings of inadequacy, which lead to actually starting to act inaccurate. So it kind of is tied together with the self-fulfilling prophecy thing that we were just talking about. You start to think like thoughts that you're inadequate, you're not enough. And you guys, these are not usually conscious, clear thoughts, like the words thought out exactly, like, gosh, I'm inadequate. Like nobody really walks around thinking that. It's unconscious. It's like running automatically just because maybe that was the voice you grew up with, or something you picked up, a voice you picked up through the, circumstances of your life or whatever. But you're almost like unconsciously just have this running monologue of inadequacy, which again self-fulfills itself. So you start to act inadequate. You lead yourself into showing up that way as like lackluster, failing, like, or not trying things. You start to think that you're inadequate, so you act inadequate, which leads to not starting the freaking business for already. Like, let's just start. Not going for that promotion, not trying for things, not living up to your potential, which is a catastrophe in this life, right? When we have a critical inner voice, we also tend to criticize other people internally, not just ourselves. So it's kind of like having this ongoing monologue of like rude, judgmental talk all the time. And we're so used to it that we don't even notice it. But it's just like this funnel of negative energy all the time, looking down on people, judging their choices, making up stories about them as we're watching them online, assuming things about them and thinking of them as if those things we're assuming are fact, when really, number one, we have no fucking idea. And two, it's none of our fucking business. This negative dialogue towards others, towards ourselves, is just this negative spiral that everything is energy. Every thought has an energetic frequency it is putting out. And negative thoughts, spoiler alert, have a negative frequency. So when you have that going on inside of yourself all the time, everything is affected. Excuse me. You're creating negative frequency. And so that becomes what you're putting out. That becomes like your aura, as some people say. That's your energy. Then, of course, you're in that frequency. What do you think you're going to attract? Because like attracts like. You're going to be attracting negative shit you don't want. It's a negative spiral that affects every area of your life and does not stop unless you deliberately make it stop. And the longer it's gone on, the harder it is to change course. There's so much energetically to this. Like the words we think and speak are impacting us in every single way, every day. They affect our mood, our self esteem, our physical health, our relationships, our perception and view of ourselves and others in the world, our productivity, our general quality of life. This is your pep talk that you can turn everything, and I literally mean everything, around simply by changing your inner and outer voice. I would really even I would really even say just your inner voice, because if you change your inner voice, the outer voice is just going to be automatically affected. I actually, in preparation for this episode, I was like, I want something else for them. Like, I want to take them to the next level. I wanted to walk you guys through like some EFT for negative thinking and speaking. So, what I did was I actually created a guide. It's totally free. Super easy. It's an EFT, which stands for emotional freedom technique or emotional freedom therapy. Okay. It is a therapeutic technique that I am certified in officially. Very proud, very excited. I have practiced EFT for about 5 years now, have been certified for about 7 months at the time that I'm recording this. It's absolutely life changing. Basically, you are neutralizing energy in your body, which is affecting your mind and vice versa. And you're neutralizing stuck emotion in your body. You can go snag that, alicasaza.com/EFT. It's E like elephant, F like Frank, T like therapy. um, go get it. It's free. It's just a downloadable guide where I'm explaining it to you. And then I walk you through, I show you the points on your body that you can use to tap and then like what to say to get out, like literally break the pattern of negative thinking and negative speaking. Totally free. Go grab it. alicasaza.com/EFT. Um, I've shared this story before, but I want to touch on it again. My son, Leland, at the time that I'm recording this, he is 12, but when this episode comes out, he'll be like a week away from turning 13. When he was a toddler, he was so difficult. He just had like behavioral issues. He struggled to communicate. He was just very sensitive, like hypersensitivity kind of stuff, like OCD vibes, like just very a lot. And it got to a point where I just literally did not know what to do with this kid. Like I was talking all the time to like my mom and friends and like Brian and everybody, like, I need help. I don't know what to do with this kid. He's so bad. He's just out of control. His moods are way too much. He's so emotional. He's so angry. He's throwing tantrums all the time. Oh my God, look at this. Look how ridiculous he's being, like, all the time. And I one day was just like, I believe I was talking to my mom. I don't remember exactly, but I was talking to somebody about him in this way. And I literally just had this moment of like, I am talking so bad about my little boy. Like, this can't be helping. Like, I wasn't super into like energy and like the power of our words. I didn't really know that world or that verbiage at the time, but I was just like, this can't be helping. And like a couple days later, a friend handed me this like book that was like a little mini pamphlet thing that was like about the power of the tongue. And it was like biblical. It was like the power of life and death is in the tongue. And like it just was like explaining what that means and like talking about this, like what we're talking about right now. It was so long ago. Leland must have been like 3 or 4. And it just hit me. Like I was like, okay, this isn't a coincidence that I'm getting this book right now. And like I'm just gonna like make a rule to stop saying anything negative about Leland. And I'm going to like not only that, but like start saying positive things to him and over him and around him. And so I did that. I literally like I was like reading parenting books. I was trying all the different like, parenting strategies or whatever to like help your kids express their emotions well and like be there and hold safe space for them and whatever. Like I was also like I was raised like with spanking and I thought before this like spanking was good. And then I had like recently got educated for myself and like stopped doing that. So not only was I dealing with this like toddler, but I was like also dealing with a pivot in my parenting and like the way that I would like discipline my kids. Like the old way just like was not feeling good at all. And I wanted to break away from like the patterns and habits and like parenting style that I was raised with and that I thought was like the way you have to do things. Um, and so I just felt like cut off at the knees. Like I don't want to spank. Like I don't want to be that parent. But, like I need to pivot and like find new ways to like communicate with my kids and raise them. And I was just like very, very young. Oh God, I was like 23 when I had Leland. So I was really young and I had already had Hudson too. Like I was just a lot. So anyway, I'm in this big pivot and figuring this out. And I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to like stop talking negative and start talking positive. So I stopped saying anything negative about him. Even when people would like check in with me, I would state facts, but I wouldn't like say anything negative about him or his behavior. And then like every time I buckled him into his car seat and we would be in the car, I would not play music. Instead, I would start speaking positivity over all the kids, especially Leland, and just saying like positive things like, look at you. Like, you're such a brave boy. You're such a cool kid. Look at you. Look at those eyes. And then I would, and of course, like go to Bella and little baby Hudson, of course, too. But my intention was Leland's behavior. And I started doing all these little things, started like intentionally saying positive things about Leland to other people when I knew that Leland could hear me. And over like a couple of weeks, his behavior completely transformed. He was not having these meltdowns. When he did, they were much more mild. And it was like he would be available for me to come and sit with him in it and not be like freaking out, screaming, trying to push me away. He was just like more available for me. Like, I guess like on an emotional and energetic level, he was just like, okay, like this is my mom. Like, she's a safe space. Like, I really believe I made myself feel more safe to him. It can't feel safe when you're a little toddler and you hear your mom saying, like, he's so bad. Like, oh my God, I don't know what to do with this. Like, stop, you're the worst. Like, that can't be good. Right. Like, he's got to know. And so, just me as this like very young and ill equipped mom trying to navigate this and just making this one small change, I saw the biggest difference in my son. And it taught me one of the most valuable lessons of my entire life: the power of your words, the power of your thought. What you think about somebody, they will fulfill. Now I understand, like, literally, like, we could get really deep with this and go into like frigging quantum physics and like energy and the fact that we're all creating our reality and blah, blah, blah. But like, just know this: what you think about someone, what you intend towards them, and how you talk to them and about them and think to yourself about them, that is what you're going to get. So if you don't like the way someone treats you or their behavior, set boundaries and all that good stuff, but also start thinking differently about them. Another time that the words I think and the words I speak changed my life was for my business. I've also talked about this here on the pod, like speaking money and profit and wealth and impact and success over myself and over my business in the beginning stages made it what it is. And every time I stop doing that and I get like really deep in the weeds of stuff and really like, I gotta check this new strategy and I gotta like, it never works. Things always drop off. You need the balance. You need the strategy side and the spiritual side. The spiritual side being your connection to your business, your intuition, your feminine flow, getting inspired, treating your business like not like work, but more like play and enjoying the process of running your business and speaking life over it. If you are in a rut with money, if you are in a rut with your business, begin to intentionally speak positive reinforcement, speak out the things that you want to happen, speak life over your business. And I promise you, you are going to see a massive change. So if this is hitting, you're like, okay, but like, what is the process? What do I specifically do to make this area of my life better? I want to channel the power of my thoughts and words and like really nip this in the bud, like get change as part of my life. Number one is self awareness. You need to start by paying attention to your thoughts and words. You need to recognize when negativity is creeping in and identify specific triggers or specific patterns. Becoming self aware just means you are noticing things about yourself. You are just aware of your own self. You are just becoming aware of your patterns, your triggers, your habits, your thoughts, instead of just like letting it all happen and kind of run you. This is a fundamental step for every human, but in many therapy practices, therapeutic approaches, including CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, which I love and highly recommend. It's a huge step. It's absolutely fundamental. And there is a substantial amount of research demonstrating the effectiveness of CBT and of self awareness as the first step to addressing negative thinking patterns and addressing change in a person's life. You cannot change something if you're not aware of what needs changing. So the first step is self awareness. Number two is to begin to challenge your negative thoughts. When you catch yourself thinking negatively, challenge those thoughts. Ask yourself, is this based on fact or assumptions? Replace these thoughts with a more realistic and positive perspective, even if it doesn't feel true. Pretend and watch the external reality shift to match how you're thinking. Number 3 is positive affirmations. We just talked about that. Speaking life, affirming what you want. So saying things like, let's say you're going to talk about your business. I am running a lucrative, successful, highly profitable business. I wake up every day with the best job in the world. My work feels like play. I love it. Even just that alone, just off the top of my head, like those are powerful words. Saying those out loud every day as you step into your office. Are you kidding me? Let's do a relationship example. Let's say that you are in a relationship with a man and it's a romantic relationship. Okay. Saying things like, I love that I have such a good man to be grateful for in my life. I love how safe my man makes me feel. I love how my man is always thinking of me. I love how my man is always thinking of ways to please me and make me happy. This is something that I do. And it is true. It becomes true. Number 4 is EFT. Okay, emotional freedom technique. EFT, I talked about it a bit in the beginning, so I won't go too deep here, but like you literally, my loves, you literally can change and rewire the way you think about yourself, the way you think about another person, the way you are functioning in your business, any area. You can literally get rid of physical pain with EFT because you're moving energy out of your body. I use it for period cramps. I use it when I'm anxious. I use it when I'm just unmotivated and I can't seem to get my shit together to get my workday started, but I can't take a break that day. Like, use EFT. And again, that free guide that I made for this episode, it's EFT for negative thinking and speaking. Go get it. AliCasasa.com/EFT. Number 5 is change your environment. You need to remove the negative influences in your environment. Your environment being the food you're eating. Like, if you're eating shitty food, you're going to feel shitty. You're going to think shitty. You're going to be more negative. Like, that's energy. The way your food is prepared, the quality of your food is all energy. If you're eating negative, shitty energy, you're going to get negative, shitty energy within and then back out. The people you're hanging around. I am unavailable for gossip, flat out unavailable. And I have set energetic boundaries around gossip. I just will not partake. I got a text just maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was in a group chat with a group of women, and then we were all just chatting. And then one of those women, who's a good friend, and I love her so much, she exited the group chat and texted just me and said something like, ugh, and then something about what one of the girls said, opening the door for gossip. I did not respond to the text. I think I texted her like the next day, something completely different, like, hey, like, have you seen this TikTok? And like, just totally, I never addressed it. I am teaching that new friend that I do not participate in gossip. It's an energetic boundary. I will never have to have a conversation with her about it because I'm setting that energetic boundary. Change your environment. Change yourself in your current environments. Be around positivity. Be around people that are talking about ideas in rooms, not other people who are not in the fucking room. That's low vibe. Get out of there. And number 6, like, if you need professional help, if you are just really feeling like you're stuck in a negative spiral all the time, go to therapy. There are platforms you can sign up for online in the comfort of your own home. You can find a therapist who will do remote. You can go to the therapist's office if that helps you. Like, I have a good friend who just cannot do remote therapy. He just wants to be in person. So that's what he does. But get help, support yourself. If you need it, go. Bottom line, my loves, the energy in your thoughts is affecting you. The energy of your thoughts, the energy of that unconscious monologue that you just don't even notice because you're so used to it, is affecting you. The energy of your words is affecting you. It's affecting the people around you, and it is making them treat you and act a certain way. If you want it to change the way you think, change the way you speak. Don't forget to head over to Instagram, Ali_that's me. Send me a DM, Life Audit 1, to get my free guide to give yourself a life audit. Let's elevate. And also DM me the letters BHF. so you can get the Becoming Her private podcast series I made for you. All right, my loves, that is it for this episode. I love you so much.